Okay, we might start. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm just going to start by going through some webinar rules, I guess. So thanks for coming along to this Zoom session. And one of the ones that I want to mention is that you are muted today. So although you can hear us, we can't hear you. Bit sad, but what you can do if you do have a question is down the bottom of your screen, you should be able to see a Q&A box. So you can click on that and you're welcome to type through questions that can be throughout the presentation, and we'll aim to answer those at the end of the presentation. So be sure to stick around for that. We also are not having any polls today, but this webinar is being recorded. And you can raise your hands. There is a button to do that, but we won't be calling on anybody that raises their hands. We are using the Q&A, just the chat option today. So that's our preference for this session. So I really want to take this time to acknowledge the traditional owners of wherever you are joining us from today, so wherever it may be. So I'd like to in particular mention the Awabakal people on the lands of which our main campus Callaghan is located. So that's where myself and Libby are zooming from, Awabakal country. Jess is down at our Rimba campus on Darkinjung country, and Grace is joining us from Warramai country. And we want to take this opportunity to really extend our respects to elders past, present and emerging, and to any Indigenous people in the audience as well. So what we're going to do now is each of our three panelists are going to introduce themselves and share a bit about their story of how they've, I guess, arrived here and that university study as well. So we'll start with Libby. Thanks, Libby.
Thanks, Martine. Hi, everyone. My name is Libby and I am a fourth year surveying student. So when I was in high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I finished. So for my subjects, I always picked things that I knew I'd get a lot of enjoyment out of, made the most of my school years, as it were. When I did finish up high school, I tried so many different things, so many different degrees in so many parts of Australia. But ended up coming back to surveying through an aptitude test, funnily enough. And I did my certificate 3, 4 and diploma at TAFE. And that's how I got into the University of Newcastle, as I got in through TAFE. So I guess my story kind of shows you that there's multiple pathways to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, so my name's Jess. A little bit about my story and how I got to university, again, different to Libby. I grew up on the Central Coast. I went to the local high school. Unfortunately, I was a bit more interested in sports than I was necessarily my studies. So unfortunately, my ATAR kind of took a hit because of that, and I didn't get the best ATAR in the world. I decided that I didn't necessarily want to go to uni straight away anyway. So I went to America and I worked in a summer camp for 6 months. When I was over there, I had the time of my life. I met heaps of cool people studying all these sport degrees in human movement. And I was like, oh, these are pretty cool. So when I came back, I decided to go to university. But unfortunately, because of my ATAR, I couldn't get in through that pathway. So I did a bridging course called Open Foundation. So that actually got me into a lot of different universities in New South Wales, and I stuck with the University of Newcastle just because I really love the atmosphere and the mentoring and how welcoming everyone was. So I ended up doing a Bachelor of Exercise and Sports Science, basically because I really like sport, and that hadn't changed from when I was about 16, 17, 18. And I decided that I graduated, from my Bachelor of Exercise and Sports Science last year, and then decided to carry on with my Masters of Exercise Physiology with the hope of working in rehabilitation in hospitals. So we'll pass over to Grace, who's going to give a rundown of her story.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. My name's Grace, and I was home educated, so I didn't have an ATAR. And I didn't actually think I even wanted to go to uni. So instead, I opened up my own business, which is actually behind me right now. And I did that. And then I really noticed that I enjoyed like spreadsheets and systems and procedures. And so I kind of knew that I wanted to be part of the business world. And so I also went to Open Foundation, which was really good and really helped me kind of like figure out where I wanted to go. So through that, I decided to do a degree in commerce. and I'm just about to finish my first year, which is very exciting, but it's been great.
Beautiful, thank you. And for context, it's a coffee van business, so you might be able to see the van there in the background. Thank you. So we're going to share our screen now, so you'll see a PowerPoint presentation come up, and Libby is going to take it away for us.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Martine. So you might be wondering, why should you go to university? This strange little thing that a lot of your friends might be doing, or your parents, siblings, they may have gone to university. So some of the reasons that you should go to university is that it can provide you with better jobs and better pay. So for example, I have received my diploma in surveying, which means I can be a survey technician. But I decided to continue on with my studies so I can become a registered surveyor. And that means I get to sign my name on plans, which is pretty cool. But it also means I get to earn more money as well, so I can have more than 5 dogs, which is important for some. Uni also allows you to follow your interests. So when you're in high school, there's a curriculum you need to follow, and that might include subjects that you're not really a fan of. At university, you do what you want to do. You get to study what you are interested in, and you get to meet so many other people that are interested in the same things you are, and it just grows. You can also go global with uni as well. There's lots of opportunities to go traveling, to go to different universities, and to meet other people as well that might take you elsewhere. So graduate jobs that come out of university can actually take you to different parts of Australia as well, which is pretty cool. The university also prepares you for work. So I'll talk about this a little bit later, but we do a lot of things making you work ready. So life ready graduates kind of thing. This is really good so that when you get out into the workforce, you know what is a what and what is a thingamabob, so you won't be the idiot in the room, as it were. University also allows you to enjoy the flexibility. So a lot of our degrees are available part-time as well. And almost all of the degrees since COVID have been experimenting with online learning as well, which has been really convenient for some, especially if you want to watch a Zoom lecture or over a coffee at home, or if you prefer to do some online study later on, like online examinations. And as I said earlier, you'll create lifelong friends. So one of the key things I've noticed through university is that to get through uni, you gotta have your friends. You make friends. The first class you sit down in, semester 1, they will be there with you from start to finish. You cry together, you laugh together, you sigh in happiness together when you get that mark back. So trust me, these people will see you at your best and your worst, and you'll love them for it. And yeah, you'll have an experience of a lifetime. You would have heard a lot of people say, university was the best part of my life. I really enjoyed it, kind of thing. And they're not wrong. They're really not wrong. There's some things I've experienced that I don't think I would experience in any other capacity. So yeah, these are just some of the reasons why you should go to uni. Next slide. So university offers many different degrees in many different areas of interest, as you can see by this slide here. So goodness gracious, my degree sits under engineering. Okay, so I'm doing surveying, so it sits under engineering. Exercise physiology, of course, it sits under health, and it also sits under science. So, you know, you're doing a bit of column A, a bit of column B. Yeah, so as you can see, if you go onto our website and have a look at all of the degrees available, I think you'll be shocked. There's things like marine science as well. There's Bachelor of Arts, which could be anything you want it to be, essentially. So the world is your oyster. Next slide.
Thank you, Livy, for that rundown on why you should go to uni and the amazing things that you can actually study at uni as well. So there are a couple of different campuses that you guys can study at. The first is our main campus, which is our Newcastle Callaghan campus. This place is huge. It's got its own postcode. It's got different cafes, bars, so many different activities going on. We also have heaps of clubs and societies. I know we've got Garlic Bread Appreciation Society, Rock Climbing Club. There's so many different ones there. And if you don't like any of the clubs and societies, you can also make your own one, which is pretty cool. We then have the Newcastle City campus. So this is one of our newer buildings and it is huge. It has an incredible view and it's for our law and business students. So the courthouse is just right down the road as well. So our law students tend to hang out there quite a bit and do a lot of interactive learning there as well. We then have our Central Coast Ourimbah campus, and this is my home. I spend a lot of time here, and this is home to our exercise and sports science, podiatry, oral health and food science students, as well as other degrees you can study there, such as nursing and teaching and business. So it's a really nice campus, especially if you're living locally. We then have our Newcastle Honeysuckle building, which is open to our creative industry students. And then last of all, we have our Central Coast Clinical School. So I was really lucky. I actually got to visit this amazing complex yesterday, and it's right next to Gosford Hospital. If you are from the Central Coast, it's actually taking preference to Central Coast students. So that's really, really cool. And it's home to our nursing, midwifery and medicine students. So life as a uni student is quite different from school and day-to-day life. I know there was a question about is uni online, is it face-to-face? And at the moment, because of COVID, a lot of things are going online, such as our lectures, but a lot of it, like our labs and our tutorials, are face-to-face still. So as an example, I know exercise and sports science in first and second year, they're usually going to uni 1 to 2 days a week. I'm actually really lucky. I only go to uni 1 day a week, but you have the option to be really flexible with your studies. So I'm really lucky. I work multiple different jobs, so I can fit my study around my work life and also my training life, and then still have time for a social life as well, which is very important. So then we'll jump to the next slide, which is key terms. So I'm sure you guys have probably heard these words getting thrown around a little bit, but we'll go through them quite quickly. So ATAR is our Australian Tertiary Admission Rank, and this is basically the number that you get when you finish your HSC. UAC is our University's Admission Centre. So this is basically the organisation that processes all your applications. So whenever you apply to any university, you go through UAC. We then have adjustment factors. So these are things like if you're a rural and regional student, you get 5 adjustment factors. If you face disadvantage, you also get adjustment factors, and they're added onto your ATAR to create a selection rank. And that's basically the number that you get to get into university. If you've read one of our prospectuses or been online and looked at different degrees, you'll see words such as assumed knowledge and recommended studies. At the University of Newcastle, it's actually, we don't have any prerequisites to get into university. So we do recommend that you study certain subjects to get into different degrees, but you don't have to. So as an example, if you decide that you want to be a lawyer and do law, but you've done PDHPE, you've done science subjects, that's completely okay. As long as you get that ATAR, 100% you can get into that degree. Although we do recommend you do study those subjects, and that's because it makes it a lot easier to get into kind of first year way of life, and you get a bit of a background knowledge. So we'll jump over to Libby, who's going to talk about Life Ready graduates.
Thanks, Jess. So as I was saying earlier, the university creates Life Ready graduates. This basically means that some of our degrees actually require you to do some industry experience as part of your degree, so that when you finish up, you have all the knowledge in your head and you have all the workings in your hands. So Basically 90% of undergraduate degrees offer work integrated learning. Now I'm doing an engineering degree and I need to do 12 weeks of industry experience as part of my degree. I'm not being considered as graduated until I have done these weeks of industry learning. So other kind of places that do industry learning include nursing as well. There's a whole bunch of other different degrees that do it too. And basically what this means is that you're equipped not with only just the theory, but you've actually been out in the industry and you get an idea for what industry expects of you as well. So if you go ahead and do it in first year, it also gives you an idea as well as to where that degree can take you, and it can help you figure out what kind of electives you want to do as well, especially if you want to specialize in something that's caught your eye whilst you've been doing some experience.
Just to add on that as well, Libby, I know in second year we had our placement for exercise and sports science, and that I did a placement at an exercise physiology practice. That's when I realized that, okay, I don't actually want to work in elite sport. I want to work in the allied health perspective. So it's, as you said, a really good way to kind of figure out where you fit in your degree as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like your degree isn't just a one-road wonder, as Jess has said. Like she studied exercise physiology, and that experience has actually shown her the multitude of pathways that she can follow once she's finished her degree. So it's good experiences to have, people. Next slide. Rightio then. So applying to the good old UAC in order for you to be considered for your position at university. So first things first, you've probably heard of UAC before. As you can see on the slide, there is the website. When you go onto the website, you create an account and you can select up to 5 courses in this account. So with these five courses, put your dream course first. It might feel ridiculous. It might feel like you can't achieve it or attain it, but just put it first. Trust me, because you have no idea. There's these things called adjustment factors, which may end up in your favor, and the stars may align and you may get it. So be sure to put your dream course as your first preference. Preferences 2, 3, and 4 can be things that you're like, yeah, I'm pretty lukewarm about this and I might go into this, or it might be something that'll lead me into my dream course. So say, for example, if your dream course is nursing, but you're feeling a little bit iffy about your marks, you can always put your second preference as science and actually do a bit of science for a year and then try and get into nursing again. So you can think about these kind of lead up options too. In terms of your 5th preference, we recommend putting in an alternative entry program like Open Foundation or a Diploma of Engineering. So once again, these are courses that can set you up for success for your dream course. And you can update your preferences at any time, but we do recommend that you do keep your dream course as number 1 because we all know that is exactly what you want to do. So just for you guys who are interested in mid-year entry, apply by the 17th of June to UAC, okay? Just remember that, UAC, apply by the 17th of June for mid-year entry.
So both myself and Grace had pretty great experiences with Open Foundation. This is an incredible pathway to get into university and a really good option if you don't get those marks or you decide to go away for a couple of years, travel, work full time, and then go to university. So Open Foundation is open to people that are 18 or older, and basically it is a completely free pathway program. So I really try to promote that it's free because a lot of other universities actually charge for these enabling programs. So it's really, really important just to make sure that if you're going to do an enabling program, make sure it's free as well, because it's an awesome option. So I guess my experience was a really cool one. I did it for a semester And it was, I chose subjects that I was really interested in. So mine were the science of nursing and midwifery and environmental science. So you're still on the university campuses. You do have the option to study it online if you like, or you can study it over 1 year as well. So Grace, did you want to talk about your experience with Open Foundation?
Yeah. So I loved Open Foundation. I wasn't sure if uni was for me, but it's free, so why not, you know? And yeah, it was really good. I was like, well, I'll just try a variety of things. And so I did some business ones, I did some maths, I did some linguistics, and all the lecturers were really lovely. Like, they were helpful. There was heaps of people who could like check your essays, because if you've either like never really done that or it's been a long time since, it was just really good to know, like, yep, you're on the right track. So yeah, I highly recommend. And if you like get through it and you enjoy it, then you'll also enjoy uni.
Definitely. And they teach you things like how to reference and how to write an essay. And I just think that's a really good opportunity, especially going into first year, when a lot of first year students are really worried about that stuff. You're already on top of it. One other thing to note is you can actually study it for up to 2 years. So you can choose one subject and go slowly through it. So you can really basically just work full time and do Open Foundation on the side, which is really, really cool as well. So your PUG is also a pathway program designed for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. So this is really cool as well, because it's a similar program. They just offer a little bit more mentoring from our Wallatuka Institute. So it's a year-long program. And they go through the same processes, like teaching you how to reference, teaching you how to work university life into your life as well. So it's a really good pathway for our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. So we also have undergraduate certificates. So there are actually 9 undergraduate certificates to choose from in semester 2, and these can range from criminology, education, health and nursing, IT, engineering and construction management, or environmental studies as well. So you can explore your options and receive credit towards related undergraduate programs. So for an example, environmental studies could relate to an environmental science degree. If you wish to study an undergraduate certificate, you can actually apply now through UAC, and applications are open now, I think. Is that right? Yeah, cool. Just confirming. Yes, they're open now, so you can apply for that. We also have our new Prep Plus as well. So a lot of people, I know, like myself, Grace, and Libby, we're all very nervous when we come back into university life. And even in second and third year, after having that big break, you're like, oh my gosh, like, how am I supposed to study again? Like, what subjects am I learning this year? And it can be quite a daunting thing going back to university, especially when you've had a couple of years off. So there's a program called New Prep Plus, and this basically prepares you for university life. And this can be through different subjects. So if, as an example, I was studying biology in my first year and I was completely terrified because I wasn't very good at science. So I did a bridging of like a new prep course on biology, and I learned a lot about it. So then when I went into my first year, I knew what was going on. So that was a really cool thing. And the best thing about it, again, is they're completely free. So you don't have to worry about spending a little bit of money before you go into university as well.
Thanks so much, Jess and Grace, for that wonderful little overview of Open Foundation. My friend Jess is actually a high school dropout. She dropped out in year 8, and she's actually doing her final year of Bachelor of Environmental Science, and she is smashing it. She's getting HDs left, right, and center, and she started out doing Open Foundation too. So guys, it's amazing what a little bit of preparation can do for you. So definitely something to consider. Now, I spoke to you earlier about TAFE and about how I did TAFE and got into university that way. TAFE is another one of those great institutions that allows you to kind of figure out what you want to do and also teaches you things too. And it's great that this university recognizes that you have done some study at TAFE And it's worth noticing that your qualification can actually get you into university too. So if you have a look down at the bottom of the slide, gives you an idea of what we kind of consider the ATAR mark is for those certificates. So for Cert 3 is 67 ATAR, Cert 4 is 74 ATAR, and for a diploma, it's a 75 ATAR. And because I did my diploma specific to my degree, I actually got recognition of prior learning for what I studied. That basically means that I didn't have to do my whole degree because I had already completed some subjects through TAFE. So that's something a little bit interesting and cool too, when if you decide to go through TAFE and you decide to continue on with your learning in that area, that might be something you want to be interested in looking at. And you can actually do a comparison on our website. Just type it in. So I spoke earlier about your UAC applications and putting in your dream degree, and then after that, your backups, and then after that, put in something like Open Foundation. So what I was trying to get at here is that we also have something called degree transfer. So if your ATAR doesn't quite meet the mark, you can always jump into a degree that's got a slightly more attainable ATAR, complete that for a year, or as it says here, 2 semesters of good results, which is a year. And then you can try and go and transfer into the degree of your choice. So say, for example, if you wanted to get into nursing again, but you just fell short of the ATAR, you can do a year of science, and you might actually be able to pick electives that are exactly the same as what's available in nursing. And then if you get good marks in that, the next year you can degree transfer into nursing, and you also won't have to do those subjects again because they match up exactly with what is in nursing. So that's something to consider as well if you're a little bit worried about meeting the mark and, just want to set yourself up for success. So at the university, there's quite a few support and services available here. And so myself, Jess and Grace are just going to talk about some of the services that we have used on campus. So I've actually used the counsellors on campus, just had a few too many things going on, and basically straw that broke the camel's back. Now, university can feel like a big and overwhelming place, but I reached out to the health and welfare advisors, and I was able to get, I think it was 10 counselling sessions, just being a university student here and talking to a counsellor on campus and just getting that support that I needed through my degree. So what's really great about getting the counselling here on campus as well is that they're able to communicate with your lecturers too, in case you can't make it to something, or if you want them to write a personal note on your behalf. So there's heaps of support here for you, even when the going gets tough. What about you, Jess?
So I really love the careers guidance and advice. I think there's this misconception of as soon as you go to university, you know exactly what you're going to do with your life. And that's 100% not the case. You can change your mind 4 or 5 times while you're in your degree. And the careers guidance is really, really helpful in kind of putting a plan together, or putting more than one plan together on how you're going to not only finish your first degree, but where you're going to go from that degree. Where do you want to go in the future? So I really love that support. And I know a lot of my friends have also used that as well. But also, as you were saying, like talking with your lecturers and stuff, I know with my degree, my lecturers are so lovely and so approachable. And if you don't want to get that support, the first point of call is definitely your lecturers. They're happy to help most of the time with anything that you have concerns about. And we'll jump over to Grace to talk about her favourite support services.
Thanks. So my favourite support services are the library. I love the library. I've always loved libraries. And the online library is super helpful. Like when you're referencing, you need to find some articles or whatever. So easy to search, so easy to use. It's great. And then also I love the physical library. I'm mostly at New Space, so that's where I hang out. And the amount of work I get done there compared to at home is wild. Like I will sit in the quiet zone and smash something out. And if I was at home, I'd be like, ooh, and try to do other things. Also, the librarians, really helpful. Whenever I don't have my library card or need help finding something, there's always someone I can call upon, and they're always very lovely and very helpful.
Thanks, Grace.
So our Wallatuka Institute was mentioned before, and this is an incredible place for our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students to meet with Indigenous leaders, and also it's like a home away from home for those Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders as well. So it's a very welcoming place, and it isn't just for them, it's for everyone that is on campus. So a lot of our subjects have education on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander communities, how to do different things to integrate or make sure education is integrated into every degree. And we actually do have a lot of students going over and asking the leaders about different questions that they have. And it's such a welcoming environment. And I know they do have a lot of like different events going on and free sausage sizzles as well. So it's a really cool place to hang out on campus as well. So living on campus, this is obviously a very cool thing to do. If that's something that you're interested in, 100% do it. We're very close to beaches. There's amazing security services. So if you're feeling a little bit worried, they're always happy to help you out and drive you around. And our accommodation is really incredible as well. We have 9 different residences and 1,800 beds as well. And accommodations for mid-year are actually open now. So if you're interested in living on campus, just type in UON living on campus and all the information will come up. And yeah, check it out.
So you've heard a lot about university, how great it is, what you can study, support services, how you can live here. You're interested, you're keen, you want in, but how do you pay for it? So we are very lucky here in Australia. We have this thing called HECS. Now, HECS is Commonwealth support for course tuition fees. I'm on it, most people are. That basically means, that basically means that you don't have to pay your tuition fees right now. It's actually the government pays for it, and then you pay the government back once you start earning over a certain threshold after you graduate. So, which is really good if you don't really want to worry about fees at the moment right now. Another way to help you get through university is through scholarships, which I will talk about in a moment. Now, we have some ridiculously incredible scholarships that can pay for your entire degree. We also have scholarships that can pay for a couple of textbooks. Either way, these scholarships are here to help you. And as I will let you know later, you got to be in it to win it, people. So if you see something that you like, apply, apply, apply. So a lot of people actually work at the same time as study. That's how it goes, university student life. So I work a part-time job. Most people work a part-time job whilst they're studying at university. And that's really great because it means that you can have a bit of extra cash to earn yourself that schnitty on a Friday night. But it also means that you can pay your rent, do things just like living and existing and getting the car going. Also with part-time work, also as part of that financial assistance is financial assistance through Centrelink. So go onto Centrelink and have a look at your situation or what your situation might be and actually see what kind of government support you can get for studying. So I am a mature age student, but I am receiving Austudy and rent assistance. That helps me out a lot because studying full-time means that I'm actually only working 1 to 2 days a week, which might not be enough to cover the rent, but Centrelink covers everything else, which is really good. So some of the expenses you do have to think about, not just your Friday schnitties, not just your textbooks, but other things as well. You might need to consider are traveling expenses too. So if you're traveling to and from the university and parking on campus, other things you might want to think about too is if you want to live on campus or near campus, you'd have to do things like paying rent and utility bills and things like that. It's a really, if you know anybody who is at university at the moment, have a conversation with them about kind of their budgeting that they do, because I think you'd be surprised at how much cheese costs people. When you move out of home, you don't realize that cheddar cheese actually costs more than some vegetables. Yeah. So you appreciate that cheese more and you use it sparingly on your toasties. But you don't really kind of notice that until your first year of uni. So yeah, these are just a few things you need to think about. Not scary, not scary, just some things you need to consider as part of the whole university experience. So as I mentioned earlier, scholarships, apply for them. So we have quite a few hundreds of scholarships available. As I said, some of them are Chumbawambas that can be up to $75,000. I believe that's the Mara Morley Scholarship, which we will talk about later. And some of the other scholarships can range anywhere from $50,000 to all the way up to the $75,000. So they might be dependent on your study level, like enabling, undergrad, postgrad, or PhD. They might be dependent on your scholarship type, whether that might be an equity scholarship, study abroad scholarship. So if you decide to travel and travel with your studies, you can actually get support and a scholarship to help you do that as well, which is pretty cool. There's also scholarships for academic achievement, financial disadvantage, for women and for disability, and all sorts of different categories. So jump onto the website and have a look at what scholarships are available. And the really cool thing is that even if you are able to apply for, like, I don't know, 20 scholarships, you don't have to do 20 scholarship applications. You can apply for multiple scholarships with one simple application process, which is super duper handy and just makes the whole process a lot easier. So no excuses, just go for it. If you look like you fit in one of those categories, go for it, because you've got to be in it to win it, people.
So as Libby mentioned before, one of our incredible scholarships that we have that is actually $75,000 is the Mara and Morley Scholarship Program. And this scholarship looks and is grounded on the different values showed here. So peace, equity, ethics in entrepreneurship, and environmental sustainability and biodiversity. So there's actually 3 different categories that you can apply for. And they are if you're an Indigenous student, if you faced educational disadvantage, or have excelled, so academic excellence as well. So these are a page-long application, and you basically talk about all these values and how they fit into your life. And yeah, so definitely apply for this scholarship. This pays for your degree and more. I think all of us here are just like, this would be an incredible opportunity. $75,000 definitely goes a long way, and you wouldn't have to stress about a lot of things that most uni students have to stress about too. So definitely look into applying for this scholarship. So one of the more positive things to come out of COVID is this Ask a Student platform. So unfortunately, due to COVID last year, we weren't allowed to access a lot of different schools, and obviously you guys as well. So we came up with this Ask a Student platform where we basically, or you guys can message us on like a messenger kind of application, and we get the message and we can give you all the information. So if you guys are sitting there with 1,000 questions, or you have absolutely no questions, and then tomorrow morning you wake up and went, oh my gosh, I should have asked this question, you can jump on to Ask a Student. So if you type in UON Ask a Student or scan the QR code on the screen, it'll come up with a whole bunch of different students. So myself, I'm on there as an exercise science, exercise physiology student, but there's also students from medicine, engineering, and a whole bunch of other different degrees. So if you're looking at specific degree questions like what is uni like for this degree, or how many days will I go if I'm in third year, definitely jump on this platform and feel free to ask us. We're always happy to help out.
Perfect. Thank you, Jess, so much for that, and Livy and Grace as well for your input. We're now at the end of our presentation, so we're going to answer a few questions that have come through. I will just start by saying that Josh has been answering some already questions in the background behind the scenes, and most of those are very specific questions to your individual situation. So if you're sitting there and you feel like you need some more answers for your specific pathway, we encourage you to email askuon@newcastle.edu.au, and that information is on our website as well in terms of who the best contacts are for you. There's also a number online as well, 1300 Ask UON, I believe, but double check that one before you ring it. I will answer one of these questions here. Someone has asked, are there startup or entry fees for courses? So I guess the first thing to know that if you're a domestic student, so if you're an Australian citizen, you can use what Libby was talking about before in terms of the HECS help fee for your course tuition fees. There are some other fees associated with uni studies. I believe is it the SAF, the Student Services and Amenity fees. There's another, thanks Libby for the thumbs up. There's another fee, which is a smaller amount. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but that goes towards things like maintenance of facilities, that kind of thing. And I'm not really totally sure, but it does depend on what the students kind of elect to where it goes as well each year. So it's a student-based fee. That one I believe can also be put off through the HECS help. I think they call it the SA fee help, that one too, but that's, I believe, if you're an Australian citizen. So if you're an international student, different situation again, you do have to pay fees up front depending on your situation, but we encourage you, if that's your situation, to use the Ask UON email address to get some more clarification around what you need to pay for. Other costs are things like textbooks. You don't have to buy a textbook, but sometimes it's recommended. You might just use a copy in the library, that can be for free. You might have a friend who has a textbook that you can share. You might even look on Facebook to find secondhand textbooks as well. So I hope that answers your question about the fees there. So we'll give you a few more moments if you want to type in any other questions. And I might just ask our panelists while we have the chance to, I might ask you, Grace, actually, seeing it was your first year this year at university, how did it feel, I guess, starting? Like, were you nervous?
Yeah, I was nervous. I don't think that I'm a particularly nervous person, but definitely like I was a mature age student. And so like, it's like, will I make friends? Will I be cool enough? Referencing, like, I was like, we're doing, like, there was different ones in Open Foundation. So I was like, I need to learn a new referencing style. So yeah, it was a bit scary, but I found a really helpful tool was going through the course outline and looking at what I had to do and putting in every single assignment into my Google Calendar. You can use whatever calendar, but I found that really helpful because then you see, it's actually spread over a long period of time and you can kind of like know when things are and you're not going to miss tests and stuff, which is just not a fun feeling if you do.
Beautiful. Yeah, no, that's not ideal at all, but it sounds like you came up with a good plan. Beautiful. We have another question here. How do I find out what degrees are available in mid-year? So the best way to do this would be to go onto our website, newcastle.edu.au. You click on the degrees page. There's a large link at the top of the page, and then it'll have all of our degrees. On the left-hand side, there's a filtering option. So you can tick mid-year, and then it'll filter for what's available for mid-year entry. Yes, we have another question as well. How do we apply for bridging courses? So this is in relation to the new prep programs that we have available through our Pathways and Learning Support team. And that is, once you enroll in your university course, you have then a student number, and you can use this to then enroll in those bridging courses online. So you can already check it out online, the bridging and refreshing courses, the new prep courses, but it will require you, I believe, to go through and physically enter your student details so they can keep a record of, I guess, you as a person, so they know how to support you as well through that process. But remember that they are free and then they're for you to use. So please give them a go. Okay, I'll just double check the questions again. One other here. Can I start a degree and then change to a double degree mid-degree, or do I have to do the double degree from the start? That's a good question. So essentially, no, you don't have to do the double degree from the start. You can start in a single degree and then swap over. That's the beauty of uni, it is fairly flexible. So a good example there is if you're thinking law and business, the selection requirement is quite high for the double degree, as double degrees typically are slightly higher. So you could then put the Bachelor of Business as your second preference. If you received entry into that, you could do it for the first year and then use the degree transfer process that Libby was talking about before. So it's fairly simple, and I do recognise kind of different transitions into different programs, so it can be quicker than you expect, which is nice. So to summarise, no, whatever degree you start in or choose can be a pathway into a lot of other degrees, which is awesome. And another one here. If I want to study music, will it be offered from semester 2 in the new Honeysuckle building? Yes. Okay. So we talked about the new campuses before, and I was actually over at New Space today and I could look over at the new building. It was very exciting. So from semester 2, it is open. Okay. So the Bachelor of Music will be studied from there, along with visual communication designs, and I believe also communications. So it's where the School of Creative Industries is going to be housed. I may have missed another degree, I'm not sure, but check online for that too. So it's really an innovation hub for, I guess, creative like-minded people. And yeah, it looks really lovely. So I'm very excited to get into the new Honeysuckle development. We're calling it the Q building, I believe. Okay, so I can't see any other questions come through. There is a question that has just come through just then. If I can match all the required units for a degree, can I create my own double degree, or does it have to be formally listed? Okay, so this is in relation to, say, if you have 2 separate interests. The example here is maths and finance. So finance falls under accounting, and typically the maths and accounting, I don't believe, is offered as a double degree. So what they're saying is it an option? So this is a fairly, I guess, specific question to your interests, and that can be special considerations for to combine units to create, I guess, your own program. This is very rare and isn't often done. It's very niche, yes. Thanks, Libby. So what we do there is you'd have to email our team, so the Ask Your When team, and check if this is an option. So they would normally make sure that you're adequately completing the single degree by itself, getting good grades, and that you can demonstrate that you can add on the other components of the degree as well. But you might actually find that when you do look at program plans for certain degrees, that there will be electives in your programs, which means that you can then have a bit more of a choice of different university subjects, which might increase your offering of what you're interested in too, which is pretty cool. Okay, so I think we might wrap it up there, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and this recording will go up on our website as well. So thank you very much for participating. Thanks to Libby, Jess and Grace, and also to Steph and Josh in the background. See you later, everyone. Bye.